paragraph, 2 paragraphs. Yeah. So if you budget, if you know this stuff, and I'm not giving you anything that is like crazy hypothetical, right? I mean, as you can probably imagine, there's not going to be any twisting and turning, separation of powers, Article 1 sort of, questions that are going on. It's the basic stuff that we've talked about in class. 10 short essay questions, 1 or 2 paragraphs. Explain to me as thoroughly as you can within the allotted time what's going on there, the rules that are at play, the basic solution to the problem. Right? You don't have time to explore every possible counter argument that you can think of, but maybe hit the big ones. Right? You guys know how to do this stuff by now. You'll be fine. It'll be easy on that. It's 10 short essays, and then you'll have to draft something for me. So if you allow yourself 10 minutes for each one of if you know the stuff and you allow yourself 10 minutes for each one of the short essay problems, I think that should be plenty of time. So then that gives you 80 minutes for the drafting exercise, which you won't need. Yeah?
Will we have access to a hard copy of the exam, or will we only be able to access like the PDF that we download off of the exam site?
So you're going to get a Word document off of the exam4 site. That's the way I understand it. This really is a Becker question, and he just left. So I hadn't really thought about it. You're going to get a Word document off the exam4 site, and then you can just fill in underneath the questions within the Word document itself. Okay? That's at least the way I envision it. If you need a hard copy beyond that, I guess I can give you one if you want one. I don't care. Yeah, Catherine.
I was just gonna say I like to mark up the question on the actual paper. So if we can, that would be good.
Okay, let me talk to them about that. If I can have some available. The problem is, am I going to print out 60 hard copies of the exam? I can probably have some. How many of you actually want a hard copy to scribble on? A few. Yeah. All right. Well. Let me make sure that that's kosher with the powers that be, and I'll print out a bunch of them. I'll put that on my list, because otherwise I'll forget. What else, you guys? Do you know how to answer discovery requests? Yeah. Okay. As long as you know how to do that, that's good. Do you know? Hold on a second. Let me make this note to myself. Furious typing.
Or say you don't have enough info to answer. Just go back to whatever we drafted.
You know the difference between motions for summary judgment, motions to dismiss, motions for judgment on the pleadings, and when to use which procedural device. If you're not clear on that, I would spend a little time going over that before you get to your exam. Okay? Your dispositive motions, right? Motions for summary judgment, motions for judgment on the pleadings, motions to dismiss. Okay? Make sure that you know when to use what. Make sure that you don't forget that there are local rules. Okay? Something we've hammered nearly every single class. So if I ask you an open-ended question on this exam, like what rules did you rely on to come up with your answer? Don't neglect your local rules. Yeah?
How are you going to look up the local rules?
Unless you know them off, in your head. And I would, yeah, you're not going to need to do any intense research for this. So you're not going to need to do anything that would require you to go in and cut and paste the language from a local rule. But you may need to identify it. If you can do that without looking it up, great. We know we are good on the difference between claim preclusion and issue preclusion, right? Good on that? And you know the elements of claim preclusion that we talked about, and you know the elements of issue preclusion that we talked about, right?
Can you put the PowerPoints up here?
I don't know about that. Maybe. preclusion has 3 elements, issue preclusion has 4. Make sure you know. Remember the very first thing that we talked about? Things that we talked about. Considerations when you're drafting a complaint. Right? And what you're going to get hit with in a motion to dismiss if you draft a complaint that's inadequate. Right? You draft your complaint and you don't say enough in that complaint, and you're going to get hit with what? No. Two big cases that we talked about, right? One is Iqbal and the other one is? Know that, know what the standard is from those cases, know how the standard changed, know what rule is involved. Probably be a good idea. Remember amended complaints, right? Amended pleadings. How do we amend things? When can you amend things as of right? And when do you have to ask for leave of court? Might be a good idea to read up on that. When can you file an appeal? Or a better way to say that maybe is when can you get the Court of Appeals involved? And what are the different ways that you can get the Court of Appeals involved? If you think you've been wronged by a decision of the trial court, what are the different ways, in the federal courts especially, right? Not so much in state court, but in federal court. There are rules that govern that, sure. There's also a statute that we've hit a bunch of times that you might want to take another look at. If you don't know what interlocutory means at this point in the semester, you should probably review that. Make sure you know everything there is to know about the Erie Doctrine. Just kidding. But know the is it too early for that kind of the basics of Erie that we talked about. I told you the basic passing and dribbling of Erie that I want you to know. Okay. Right. The difference between procedural and substantive. Why does that matter? How do you tackle a choice of law problem? Right? Which is the most practical way that you will learn the Erie Doctrine. If you want to really learn the intricacies, you need to take Advanced Civ Pro or stay awake for that section of Barbary.
How do you tackle
Choice of law issue. And I'm talking basic choice of law stuff, right? So don't get caught in the wheels of that when you're studying. Right? Because there's a lot you can study on Erie. But if we haven't really gone over it in depth in this class, you don't need to worry about it, like in the classroom component, okay? I have spelled out for you everything you will need to know on this exam in class, okay? There's no tricks, no landmines, no nothing like that. And I promise you it is stuff that will help you if you get out and you get into civil litigation, or really any kind of practice, even transactional stuff uses this, okay? Know how to handle motions for default as well too, okay? Or a better way to say that is know what to do if you have a party that is not being cooperative. A party that refuses to participate in the litigation. What are the different ways that you can handle that? The stuff that we talked about the last time, the advanced joinder in the last lecture, I mean. Advanced joinder, the cross claims, the counterclaims, all that stuff. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about
Don't worry about that.
that.
No. put that away. That is, still, I think I told you guys this, I mean, in my mind, that's advanced Civ Pro stuff. A lot of Civ Pro first year classes don't even cover it at all. Don't worry about it. Just know that it exists. What else? Yeah.
Just to make sure, so I know it's an open note stuff. We can access our notes on our computers, correct?
Yes. Should be able to, yeah. And I've checked and checked and checked and rechecked with Jim about this, but you will have access to the universe of things that are on the computer. The only thing that you can't do is like chat with somebody else. Like you can't, write to your boss at your law firm and say, hey, I have this problem. Even though your computer is technically non-living, right, and you're not communicating with a living thing, there's another living thing on the other end. That counts as living. And so, yeah, that's honor code stuff. I will drop kick you out of law school if you do that. Somebody else. Go into practice with that attitude. What else? Somebody? No? Nothing else? Okay. Good. Well, that was easy. Yeah, oh, sorry.
So is this an exhaustive list, or do we need to know everything?
Well, of course, you need to know everything.
But I'm saying for the exam, to pass it adequately, is this an exhaustive list?
No, it's not an exhaustive list, it's not an exhaustive list, right? Because obviously you can talk about anything that you want to on these essay exam questions. But I'm saying, and I'm not going to take off points for irrelevant discussions. So if you meander a little bit into different things, that's fine. I have certain things that I'm looking for, and I think that I've just about run through all of those. I don't want to tell you that it's an exhaustive list, though. I think that's dangerous. But those are the broad topics that you want to focus on. Okay, that's what I've given you. Yeah.
Will you post your, are you having extra office hours or anything between now and then?
I wasn't really planning to, but
Okay.
I guess I can. If you want to come see me, just send me an email. We'll sit down. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
So this is like a stretch, but is there any way possible that we wouldn't have to come into a classroom and we could take it at home or somewhere else?
No, I can't do that.
Can we call a vote?
No, this is not a democracy. Think how relieved you'll be. You just come here and sit down for 3 hours, pound the thing out, and then you're all done.
It's like $275, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't actually know where it is. The last I heard, yeah, well, I assume they'll tell all of us. But the last I heard, it's going to be in 2 separate rooms downstairs. If that remains the case, then I'll just shuttle back and forth between rooms. I'll sit there for a half hour and go to the next room and sit there for a half hour. So I'll be around if you get panicked. Okay. That's all? You'll have to really try to fail it. You'll have to really try. I'm not going to guarantee anybody an A, but you're going to have to try hard to fail it.
Thank you.
All right.
That did make me feel better.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll email you. Yeah, I can email it to you right now. What's on the set?
Sunday I had the today until Sunday, I focus on
Good, all right.
after that, so in the meantime,
Today till Sunday, I've kind of focused on Conway.
down on all
The stuff we've done already.
stuff on Fox.
Okay.
So we have those.
that can be as far as
Yes, okay. Yeah, and then I'll try to make a list of everything that he has for this draft.
yeah, you can still
Okay.
kind of like a smart, like still it's like it's a chart for a reason, kind of like so you know the problem.
I don't know, I think that's that.
Label or whatever.
Okay.
Like we'll get together and figure out organizations. That's kind of the structure. We'll get together sometime next week.
You look nice today.